Alright, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to work on this Ariens 1128. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I see a lot of people who watch the videos aren't subscribing. I appreciate it. It helps support the channel and it's totally free. And while you're at it, hit that notification bell so you can get notified when I have new videos. So today we have this Ariens 1128, and we're going to have to change the gear in the gearbox because the augers are spinning freely. And I'm going to show you that here. And the main cause of this is typically that either you don't have shear pins in the augers, you're using regular bolts which won't snap if there's any pressure on those augers or if you hit something, or the gearbox wasn't lubricated properly, or there's no lubrication at all in it. So we're going to get into this video by taking it apart. We're going to have to take a few things apart to get to the gearbox, and we're going to replace that gear inside. Alright, to start we got to separate the body part with the engine on it from the bucket. And it's real easy on this model. There's just a bolt on each side, and then you kind of just tip it forward so we can remove the bucket and begin working with it. Alright, so this gear that I'm showing you here is a pulley hub. It's part number 02438900, and unfortunately it did not come off, so I had to cut it and break it off. And that basically goes on that shaft, and then the pulley hooks up to it. So it's a little bit different from most snowblowers because it's using that that pulley hub. And you got the 3 bolts that hold that pulley on, and that's where your belt goes on. So it was a hard time getting that thing off. Sometimes you can use heat, you pound it. Unfortunately that didn't work for me, so I had to order a new one, and that price was $95 for that part. So the easiest thing I found to do is take a jack stand, and there's a bar on the handles that it will sit on. That's the easiest way to tip that back and get the work started. Okay, so in order to proceed with this, we're going to have to remove these 3 nuts here, and there's also 3 on the other side, so we're going to take care of those. Okay, once you've taken those off on each side, now I'm removing the center bolt here, and there's going to be a washer, and then typically I'm going to take them and put them in a baggie and label it because it could be a while before this is done, and this way I know where all the parts are. Just organization's always a good thing. Alright, once you've detached all the bolts, that should just slide right out. And I will say this thing, the whole housing and the impeller unit, these things weigh a ton. They're not like the newer snowblowers. These things are built to last. It's heavy gauge steel. And what you're looking at here is a bearing. You're going to have those 3 nuts which will disconnect that hardware. And what I like to do is I always like to label the augers because it does matter. You're going to have a left side and a right side, because if you get these wrong it won't pull the snow to the center for the impeller. Okay, what you're looking at here are some roll pins, and there's 1 on each side, and there's going to be a large washer there. So what I'm going to do is just take an old Phillips screwdriver. I've cut the tip off of it, and it's a perfect diameter, and I'm just pounding those pins out because I'm going to have to remove these augers. Here I'm just removing all the nuts that go around the gearbox. Now I'm just going to separate this housing here. There's 2 halves to it. I'm just using a screwdriver here with a rubber mallet. I don't want to get too crazy with it because it is aluminum. We need to separate this and we'll be able to see what that gear looks like. And I have a feeling it's not good. As you can see here, there's absolutely no oil. There's a very little grease in it, but there's no grease coming out of it, no oil coming out of it, so that's problem number one. And you can see here how the gear is just shredded. There's this gold flake inside of the gearbox. That's going to happen, but you can see the center of that gear is just totally worn out. Here's a closer look at it here. In order to get these pieces off of the shaft, I'm going to have to use a file around where these holes are. And these are where the shear pins would go through. So I'm going to have to file them enough where I can slide these components off. That one wasn't too bad. And then I'm going to have to also take a center punch, and there's a pin that holds that gear. There's another hole on the shaft. And we're going to have to work that gear off as well. Alright, so now I'm just putting a little penetrating oil on that pin there. That's another roll pin, and that holds the gear on the shaft. So we're going to have to pound that out, and then hopefully the gear will slide off easily. So here is the new gear, and I have the new hub assembly there for the pulley, and the new gear comes with a pin, but I'm not that happy with it because it just slides through the hole. So I'm going to use the original pin. Now Ariens doesn't sell this gear, which is a shame, because you'd have to almost throw the whole unit away. They want you to buy the whole assembly. But this came with an adapter so that if you had a inch shaft it would fit, or a 3/4 inch. Now I don't need that extra piece it came with, but it is nice to have it. So you can see it slides nice across the shaft here. And I'll show you the pin. The pin that came with it just kind of goes in the hole and slides right out. So I wasn't that happy with that. But as I said, I'm going to use the original pin. I was able to get it out without damaging it. So you can look up this worm gear on Amazon. That way you get the best price, because they have so many different prices, and it's coming from different companies, although it's probably coming from the same place. But I can put a part number in there for you. So as I'm preparing to put the gearbox back together, I'm taking a look at this bearing here. This is a carrier bearing, and you can see the part number there. It wasn't too expensive. I think it was under $10, so I might as well replace that as well. So I'm just going to remove these 3 nuts here, and the bearing sandwiches in between those 2, and then the shaft, once I get it all back together, will just slide through there. So I'm just placing everything back into the housing, and I'm going to be using 00 grease. Now this is popular among the farming community. It's a Super S 00 grease, and you can find it at, if you look on Amazon, there's people charging $25 for this, but you can get it at Tractor Supply for about $6.50. So I'm just applying some of this grease in here, kind of like a primer, because I can fill up the rest of it when it's all back together. But this grease is kind of like, it's not a real heavy grease, like a solid grease, and it's not oily like an oil. So even if you had bad seals here, you know, the chances of it leaking out of the gearbox is very slim, because it's a thicker, you can see the consistency of it. So I'm just kind of layering what I can in here, and then I'm going to go ahead and put some seal around the housing so I can close it up. Now this seal I'm using is a gasket sealer. It is gas resistant. It's similar to Honda Bond. It is oil and gas resistant, so that's the one I'm choosing to use here. And I've used it on other machines, and I'm happy with it. And then I'm going to sandwich these pieces back together. Alright, now here's the bolt where you would top it off. You put some more grease in there once it's all back together. So that is the refill hole. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to grease these shafts up because we're going to put the augers back on. And we're going to put the shear pins back in. I'm not going to go through all the details of putting it all back together because if you went through the beginning of taking it apart, I think you probably get it. You know, usually if you're working on it firsthand, you're going to have an understanding of all these things. And then what we're going to do is we're going to prime up the housing. I'd be derelict in my duties and in my attention to detail if I didn't, you know, protect and prime and paint up the body of the snowblower because I want it to last a long time, and I surely don't want to be taking this apart again. Okay, so here we are. It's all primed up. I took wire wheels to any kind of rust that was on it. We cleaned it all up, and now we're going to paint it. Alright, so here's me just dropping the augers back in. I didn't want to go through and, you know, bore you with all this kind of stuff since we took it apart, as I mentioned, but I was real happy the way everything came out. I was happy how the augers came out. I did paint the augers as well. You know, the whole housing has like 3 coats of paint on it, so it's going to hold up in the winter time. I appreciate you watching. I hope you got some value out of the video. And if you did, like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And also leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have a snowblower like this, what your experience is with it, if you like it. I think the classic older snowblowers are the best. They're built better. They're just, this metal is so solid on them. They are heavy. Like I said, this unit is a tank. So I appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to be starting a different channel in addition to this channel, which is going to cover IT, computer related stuff, because I have about 40 years experience in that. So I'm just trying to put together a channel name and get some videos together. You know, I've been doing it for a very long time, and then I'll have a separate channel for all you geekheads that like all the geek kind of stuff, because I know I'm interested in all that stuff. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.